Hi, good morning, everyone, and good to be back and once again doing the Let's Talk About Market live session. Some interesting developments have happened in the past few days, wherein the Nifty index has also given a breakout. Now, from the top, there has been some pullback as well. Now, what does it mean for the market, and how are all the sectors placed within that? We are at an interesting point. So there are lots to talk and a lot of ground to cover. So let me quickly share my screen, and you can let me know once you all are able to see my screen. So I hope you all are able to see my screen and you all are able to hear me properly. You can please confirm it in the chat box. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. So let me quickly check the Nifty index. Okay, and why I'm saying that we are at an important point is because, so as you'll know that if the market is in an uptrend, so usually the 40-hour exponential average will act as a very important support and it will rise higher from here. Frankly, I was expecting that this support level will hold and the up move will start happening, but that has not happened and the 40-hour has broken. And in fact, I was watching this level very closely, which is this trend line, right? So over here, I was watching this trend line, and if you see, this perfectly fits in a channel, correct? So now that it is almost around the lower end of the channel and it is broken slightly below that, I'm frankly still not convinced that this breakdown has happened. That is because when I look at the swing, let me just check. Yeah. So if I look at swing, it is almost at 23. In the morning, it had also gone to around 18 or 19. So this is somewhere at the bottom end of the range. If at all, this is a breakdown, then maybe what might happen is that, it might go till here where this is an important support. After that, there might be a pullback and then there will be a decline. This is what I would tend to think. But given that the swing is around the 23 mark, maybe a fresh shot from here might not make sense. And if you see a lot of sectors, they are actually breaking out. So if you look at, say, for example, the PSU bank index, okay. This was one sector that we had spoken about prior to me going for that Goa event. But if you see over here, let me put the trade setup. Okay, if you see Nifty PSU index, so here basically this was the congestion that it broke on the upside, right? This was the congestion that it broke on the upside, and from there it is sustaining above that. And this is the setup for many of the other indices, like, say, for example, CNX metal. Okay, this you can see in metal also almost a similar setup, right? It had broken out, and over there we haven't seen any pullback. There is some minor consolidation, and it seems to be inching higher. And auto, of course, such breakout had happened much prior. So, yeah, basically, when we see look at the, when we look at the overall market, it seems to be in a good shape. But what is happening recently is that there is some pullback from the top, and this is not Nifty. No, so I wanted mid cap 100. Mid cap 100 is a good barometer, and over here also, we are seeing some pullback from the top. And if we look at the charts, basically, somewhere around the resistance line, it seems to be finding some resistance. But I think, the way the market internals are, eventually we should be heading higher. Now, the only thing that even I am trying to figure out and I'm trying to understand is that, are we going to get a deeper correction basically, given that this trend line break has happened, so are we going to do something like this and then rise higher? Okay, and then rise higher, or is this like a false breakdown that we have seen over here and then we are going to rise higher? I mean, this is the only doubt I have. Now, the reason why I think that from a medium term perspective, the up move could still be in place is because when we look at the sentiment indicators, and if you see the FI's positioning as well, so since past few trading sessions, we have seen an up move. Okay, and over here you have seen the positioning also where a short covering has started to happen. Even if you see the long percentage, it has moved from 7.5% to almost around 13%, and this in the overall context is still an oversold zone, right? So, I think that if we look at it from a medium term perspective, it has a scope of rising higher probably till year. And I mean, normally that we have seen is that they turn from net short to net long. So, in that sense, there is a long way to go on the upside. But even in case of Nifty index, there seems to be some kind of consolidation or correction that we are seeing. And I think once, so, this was ideally the breakout point that we were watching out for. That was 25,150 to 25,250. And so that's where, I think that the medium term trend has reversed. Now, there will be some pullbacks from time to time, but I think eventually we should be headed higher, right? So that's where on the hourly chart, I mean, I would try to see the today's close very closely, because, broadly, even if you remember, this was like an important support zone, right? So is it that it is a breakout and a retest, and what is happening? I mean, this is something that I'll be watching very closely. And if this low of 25,048, if this breaks on the downside, then the risk is that a deeper correction can happen. But because the swing is towards the lower end of the range. And also remember, I'm not sure how many of the people may recall this, but okay, swing, average swing. Okay, I have to create that template once again. But to all those people, average swing, moving average, exponential. So, the way, so over a period of time, what I have observed is that if I make it 40, okay, so typically when the market is trending higher, okay, and we are above the 40, all the oversold readings usually end up, resulting in a short term correction getting over and a new up move starting. Okay, so over here, the 40-day exponential is over here, which is around 24,950. So ideally, if we get this setup where the Nifty index has corrected, but it is above the 40 and the swing has got to the oversold, then we can see this happening. And you can see this happening every time. So you can see over here, low has happened. Okay, this is the, I mean, prices are above 40, and you can see that there was this oversold condition, and from there we turned around, right? And similarly over here, okay, you can see over here, and we turned around. But now the reverse is true when we are in the downtrend, right? When we are in the downtrend, this will act as resistance, and 80 or 90 will act as a barrier on the upside, and from there we might end up seeing corrections, right? So now basically, whether are we in an uptrend, downtrend, this, I think that given that we have broken out from this resistance zone of 25,150 to 25,250, and we are trading above the 40-day average as well, I would tend to believe that the trend is up. So in that sense, I will be watching at the daily swing very closely and from where it turns around. But as I said, in the morning, it had even gone to around 18 to 19 kind of levels. So we need to see, whether the turnaround happens or no. And then yes, of course, the sectors that I told you, I mean, which have given sort of a fresh breakout. So which is basically the PSU banks. Okay, you can see the PSU banks which has broken out. And in fact, there was one interesting. We were so when we had gone to this offsite and we were discussing about sector stocks. So PSU, you can see that the RRG it seems to be outperforming. The momentum is very strong as well as the RS. Even if you see PSU bank on weekly, okay, over there also the setup was interesting. Okay, so basically there was an up move which was there, but this week I can see that there is a sharp downtick. So I mean, I need to see how it unfolds. But typically, I would have expected that if this turnaround should happen, then it will sustain. So PSU bank in that sense will be interesting. But I was seeing many of the stocks within PSU banks. Okay, which were showing that pattern of turning around, and that honestly was very encouraging, and I thought it would be worth discussing over here. So if I do Nifty PSU bank, I think it's yeah. So we have got this over here, right? This is Nifty PSU compared to I mean, this all the Nifty PSU stocks are compared with Nifty 50, and moreover, the weekly setups are very encouraging in this. I mean, by weekly setup, what I mean is, uh, all this thing. So you can see that actually Canara Bank. So while we were discussing, many of these indices, I mean, these stocks were turning around. Say for example, Canara Bank, right? It was turning around. I mean, this week's momentum, we need to watch very closely, and I'm not sure why it has dipped. If but if you see the setups over there, it is nice. I mean, there seems to be this breakout, or from this range that it is breaking out, and plus what is happening is that even the previous high is getting broken. I think that was the case over here. In fact, we even saw Union Bank, which was just turning around. Okay, Union Bank that was just turning around. So over here, basically, again, the setup is from a medium term perspective, possibly a cup and handle that could be forming. And once this trend line and the high breaks, that's where we'll get more confirmation. But yes, I mean, this was one sector that came on the radar, and in fact, it was mainly because of the SBI, which had broken out from this consolidation mainly. Okay, and that is what helped the PSU index also to break out, because of course this is like a major heavyweight within this. So to all in all, to put it, basically in the Nifty index we are seeing some correction today. Okay, it's at a critical point. Okay, it's at a critical point. This might be sort of a reversal level, because if this is a breakout, then ideally the low should not break. If this breaks on the downside, then we have a risk of a deeper correction. Now how deep can be that correction? Maybe if I do the entire 61.8% retracement, so it will go all the way to 24,803. Now I'm not sure whether we are going to go there or no, but today's close, like I mentioned, is very important. If we manage to recover by the day end, it would be encouraging. And I think today is the weekly expiry as well. So let us also look at the open interest and what it is saying. Right now, I am unticking the combined OI. Okay, but you can see for the 23rd expiry, okay, 25,100 has a very good amount of open interest, and there is some put built up also that is being seen over here. uh, so it would be interesting to see whether 2500, 25,100, the Nifty index breaks and sustains below that or no. I mean, of course, if it does, then there is a risk. But if this holds, then that is what, like I was saying, that the swing is also in this over, almost approaching this oversold zone. The the put open interest is also there over here. So this can be an interesting setup, and maybe the expectation would be that in the second half we end up seeing a reversal, provided if the Nifty index breaks and if the Nifty index sustains about 25,100. As we speak, it is at 25,087, which is, sort of the live price that we are seeing on TradingView. And in weekly expiry, usually you come up with the synthetic price, and synthetic price would be, just 10-12 points, or 10-20 points above the current one, which means that the prices would be somewhere around 25,100. Okay. And also, one more thing that can be helpful to us, and that we had also discussed, was the max pain level and the trend. Let us see what is happening over there. In fact, I had not seen it. So this seems to be suggesting that 25,150, which is basically the future price, that should act as a good support. And if I do the overall trend, okay, so see, this is the problem. What has happened is that, now the max pain levels are shifting on the downside. uh, so yes, given that 25,100 in the put option, that we are seeing a good amount of open interest, and the swing around 23 or 22 levels. We are at an important point. If this 25,100 sustains below this level, maybe say 1 o'clock or so, then there will be risk of this unwinding and some correction. So as I mentioned, once again, we are at an important point. Need to see what it does. But if say 25 100 or 25 130, that zone gets protected on the downside for today on a closing basis, then the expectation would still be that, we will be inching higher. In this case, we might have to redraw the channel. But but yeah, that would be more like an you know outcome that we would expect. So that is what, I have for now. Of course, we came back tomorrow, yesterday in the evening, so I'm still settling down. So we'll see, and deep dive more. But this was few of the interesting thing that I wanted to discuss. So even in mid cap, if you see, if I draw a parallel channel, it is slightly on the lower side, but in the small cap, it has tested that and it has broken over there in 500. It is yet to reach. So there is some, variation in few of the indices. But yes, more or less, as I mentioned, we are coming to that critical point, and we need to see, what these important indices do from here. And that's where, I don't want to jump to that conclusion right away, but I would want to give it, maybe today's close, to see, how the correction unfolds. If we get a recovery from the lows, then that would be encouraging. But if we end up closing somewhere around the day's low or something like that, then that may not be a good sign, and that's where we'll have to review tomorrow and see what happens. But I'm again mentioning that the medium term setup is now, looking very good, because of the fact that, 25,150 to 25,250 zone is broken. All we are trying to now figure out, where will this correction end from the top. Is it only from here, or will we go deeper, maybe even test this gap zone, which is around the 61% retracement mark, and only then we turn around? That is the question that, we are trying to figure out. So, I just want to make it amply clear, because then it should not sound that, we are turning bearish despite FIIs and all those being in oversold zone. So medium term looks good. Short term, there is a corrective phase. Need to figure out, from where it turns around. So let me take some questions with that. If you could zoom the charts. Okay. I've tried to zoom it. Uh, But anyways, if you have any questions specifically, please let me know. I'll try to zoom in the chart and let you know. Uh, Maybe things would be clear on the downside at the 21 EMA, which is around 25,063. Maybe honestly, we use 20-day simple average, which comes along with the Bollinger Band. So I've not tracked much the 21 EMA, which I believe would be close to 20 EMA, but 20 EMA is something that I'm not tracking. I actually tracked 20 SMA. So, but yeah, let's see. I mean, a lot of studies are converging to the fact that we are reaching an important support level. So all I would want to see is the closing. I mean, so far we have corrected 100 points from the top. If the closing happens around day low, I mean, that may not be encouraging, frankly, because I would expect that if we are in an uptrend, then at least from the lower levels, the buying should come, especially when we are at an important support level. So let's see the closing, and we can talk about it tomorrow in much more detail. Uh, Ma- Manak Sahani. Okay, so I think we'll avoid discussing Elliott wave over here. How to add swing, average swing in both in the sentiment chart. So Atul, what you have to do is that you can actually even save the template. So see, let me refresh my screen and show you right from the start. Okay, so I have clicked over your daily swing. Swing. I have to go to the search. I have to click on daily average swing. Okay, once I've done that, I usually look at the moving average exponential as well. So this I will make it to 40. Because this is the template I would want to see, and over here I will save as swing template. Okay, I will save over here. Now let me show you. Let me refresh the screen. It should get saved. So now every time when I'm coming to swing, I just need to click on swing template, and this template will come over here. Okay. So that is how I have tried to make all those positional setup, short term setup, and so on. I hope that clarifies your question, Atul. You can try it. If you find it difficult, you let me know. I'll again try to show you. Yeah, Pavish. So you want to? Okay, we'll do that. So you can just observe over here. So say I'm trying to fidget with some other stock list. Now say stocks above resistance. Here you can see that there are 19 stocks. Okay, I have to click on this three dots, manage watch list, and if I want to remove, you know, I can click all this and remove it, and they will be removed from the watch list. Okay, if I want to add, then of course that I have to click over here and I have to add. And if you want to delete the watch list, the entire watch list, you need to click over here and need to click on delete watch list, and this watch list will be gone altogether. Okay, I hope Pavish, you got it. I mean, that is how you can delete the watch list or edit the watch list. Okay. uh, Are there any more questions? Atul, I hope you understood how to add average swing and swing both in the same chart. Pavish, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, if you have any questions, any help that you also need related to strike that you're struggling with, you can please let me know. I can try and solve those issues as well. So, Manak, see, please understand when we are doing it on strike, we are doing it more on technicals and daily swing and based on all those parameters, okay, that is something that we do a lot more extensively on India charts. Over here the idea is that how to use all the strike tools and try to find how the trend is or what sectors do you like. So that is what the main thing is over here. I hope you understand this. Atul, I can't give you. I have mentioned this many times. Valuation scanner. I don't know. So whatever work so far that we have done, we are doing the auditing of that and making sure whatever we have done it correct, or will we need any more changes? Uh, uh, so yeah, I don't know honestly when we do that. We first, as I told you, we need to complete those existing bugs. So we had this meeting in Goa as well, where we had all our team over here. Basically, Rohit sir was also there. The development head was also there. So we had this extensive talk over there, and the idea was that whatever that we have gone live with so far, we need to do the audit and understand if there are any more problems within that, and so on. After that, only I'll be able to give you some clarity once we get those reports. GP Kalu view on Bank Nifty. It is back, but it is difficult gauging which way it's headed. So, okay, sorry, I think I forgot to discuss about Bank Nifty. So while I was looking at in the indices, Bank Nifty was the one where we were seeing some good movement in the daily. I think it was daily or the weekly RRG. Mm, so see, in weekly, you can see that there is minor uptick of in the momentum. But if you see daily, it is basically in the improving, and I think going towards the right hand side towards the leading quadrant. So you can see this. This is Bank Nifty where even the momentum is rising. Now, of course, this is all vis-a-vis the benchmark. So say for example, if the Nifty index is falling and Bank Nifty falls less, then of course it will show the rising momentum. But what I would tend to expect is that Bank Nifty, as you know, it has turned around from a key level. So let me show you the trade setup from which you might understand. Okay, so this was the setup that we had, right? Decline, support from the 40 week, and from there it is turning around. Now we have already seen 3 weeks of positive move, and probably around almost you can say that around 5-6% up move that we have seen from the bottom over here. Frankly, I mean, I'll just be very honest. I was expecting from here it would turn around. Now it has seen some break, and even if you draw the channel, basically very much similar to the Nifty index, it has seen some breakdown of the channel. Now this is the reverse channel that I'm trying to draw. Okay, so because the low points are not that clear, if I draw a trend line from the low point, it would be something like this. Okay, and this is where I'll get the support level, which does not make sense. So when I want to find where possibly the support can happen, I mean, this is another way of drawing the channel where you connect high to high, and then you try to connect with the low, and whatever is the extended line point, that is your reverse channel. And it is now somewhere around that reverse channel where it has broken marginally, but we again need to see whether it bounces back from here or no. uh, as I mentioned, the expectation would be that it would bounce back. But again, all these things, they are all at an important support. I mean, be it Nifty 500, Nifty mid cap, small cap, Nifty itself. Uh, so let's see, how it unfolds. And as I mentioned once again, I would like to see the daily close, whether are we able to rebound from the lows or no. If we are able to rebound from the lows, that will sort of help us to give some confidence to get some confidence that yes, buyers are also presented at the, are also there at the lower levels. I think this is the last day. Do you suggest strong sectors to invest? So see, I don't want to recommend anything, Paul, but we already mentioned, things like metals, PSU banks, where there was a very great congestion, and they have been broken on the upside. So let's see. And as I told you, you can also take the help of RRG to find the strong stocks. But I think what we are seeing in the Nifty index is more or less a rotation. Um, so what is happening is that each stocks are, each indices are running at their own pace. So basically, if IT rises higher, Bank Nifty is taking a back seat, right? If Bank Nifty is rising higher, IT is taking a back seat, and that way rotation is happening. And I think this should happen, and Nifty should gradually rise higher because all are rising at their own pace. But in many of these charts, the outlook, the structure looks very encouraging. So need to see, how things unfold. In copper, seen flat line. Let me just check. So one thing also can be that maybe the earnings might not be that great, and that is why it's like this. But anyways, let me check it. So in which valuation parameter are you seeing a flat line, Atul? Can you please tell me? If I see EV to EBITDA. Okay. So now see EV to EBITDA, if you are asking me this and why it is flat, that is because maybe in 2020 the EBITDA might be very low. So let us just check the annual PNL. And what we are taking is, so you can see over here, right? It had given negative EBITDA, but we do it trailing. So EBITDA might be very marginal, and that is why you're seeing such spike. In such cases, what you can do is that you can switch to the valuation parameter, maybe make it 3 years or so, so that you will be able to get some line. But this can typically happen in these kind of stocks. Maybe if you see price to book value and all those things, that you will find it a lot more stable. Okay, you won't see those unusual spikes. But such spikes are very normal in the metal index, or commodity index. Sagar, I was not knowing about Goa, otherwise 100% I follow him from the. Yeah. So Sagar, actually, that was for the mentorship, guys. So what we usually do is that there is a 3 to 4 month mentorship course, and after that we give them enough time to understand, practice, and then whatever hurdles they are facing, we try to clarify. So what we do is that we meet annually once, and then we have this one-on-one interaction, and we try to understand where are the pain points and where we can understand. So this is not actually open for the regular viewers, but it is for all those who have taken the India Charts mentorship program. So over there we try to do this event once in a year. Mahesh, Sunday I've attended one live. I'll check, Mahesh. Mostly we should be putting the recording. I'll just check with the team and I'll let you know. Okay. Yeah, Mitanshu, you're right. We had discussed about HDFC Life, MFSL, and so on. We discussed this before on the daily charts. We can see a little pullback. Uh, right, let me just check once again. But yes, I remember So HDFC Life had already broken out, and if we see the weekly chart, so this was the breakout point, and it seems to be consolidating. Since this consolidation is happening, maybe the expectation will be that at least the cycle completes, and then after we get a breakout from this congestion, it would mean that the next leg of up move is starting. But yeah, it is very much possible that it sort of forms a triangle over here. In that process, the RMI completes, I mean, goes back to the zero line and completes the cycle, and then only it turns around. So that is what at least HDFC Life is showing. I'm not sure MFSL. See, almost a similar pattern. Bands and 40, coming to the same levels. That is a good sign. So even if the downside happens, the max that you would expect is over here, where even the RMI cycle gets complete and then we get a turnaround. So this can be an interesting one to keep on a radar. But maybe I would guess that it might need few days of correction or consolidation for the RMI to complete. And the other one which you mentioned was SBI Life. I remember you had only mentioned it, and we had seen the chart. So if we see SBI Life, it has not broken the previous high. So in that sense, MFSL and all those are leading in that way. But again, almost I think in all the life insurance, the setup is the same: up move, consolidation. Probably, once this RMI goes back to the zero and it gives a crossover, that's where the expectation will be that a new move can unfold in these counters. But definitely the setup looks interesting. Maybe a few more days of consolidation that we need to bear. So I think, yeah, we are done with the 35-minute session. I think I have tried to address all the questions. So let's see tomorrow. I mean, as we are seeing right now, the Nifty index is hovering around that 25,100 kind of mark. Need to see how we get the closing and how does the weekly expiry also plays out. uh, but as you can see, the momentum swing has now dropped to 20. So again, the day end reading of the swing will also be important to monitor. But yes, the expectation is that maybe some sort of turnaround can happen from here. Need to watch very closely how the day end closing happens. So thanks all for joining this discussion, and probably we'll meet tomorrow and see if we are getting some conclusive trend. And closing below the, I mean, closing towards the day low again today might not be that encouraging. But if we end up getting some sort of bounce from the lower levels, then it would be encouraging. And of course, just try to monitor what the early RMI is doing. So right now, what we are seeing is that, the early RMI is in sell mode, right? So watch out. So one more important thing that will happen is that the RMI will give you a bullish crossover, and that would be the time to expect some turnaround. So watch out for that signal. Basically, once you get that, that will be a lot more reliable, because since we have been correcting from the higher levels, the RMI was in sell and it did not give a bullish crossover. So it's a bullish crossover where we start thinking that probably the correction is done and the up move is starting. So watch out for that signal. So yeah, thanks once again, and see you tomorrow.